The Detroit Lions found their secret weapon at wide receiver. We're not talking about this guy enough. It's Tre'Quan Smith. He's got about 6 years experience, I believe. He comes from the New Orleans Saints. Well, last stop was at the Broncos real quick last year. Didn't really play. He was on the practice squad. The Broncos were a mess. So it's like, okay, he really had a decent career with the Saints. With Dan Campbell was there. So that's kind of the connection. And then we signed him this offseason. And remember, we're looking for that third wide receiver, that fourth wide receiver, Tre'Quan Smith. I mean, it's like I kind of forgot about this guy. So we'll break him all down. Before that, though, let me know in the comments your favorite Detroit Lions player. And it can't be an obvious one. It can't be Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. Give me a just kind of one that you're like, man, I like this guy. Mine was Sean Rogers, the big D tackle we had there for a while that was right on as the Lions were still kind of okay. Like he was really good. He fell off. I should have looked up where he went and what happened, but man, he was a dominant defensive tackle. Then all of a sudden he was gone. I love Jermaine Crowell as well. He was great. Same thing with him though, like really quick. So let me know in the comments your favorite Detroit Lions player, non-obvious one. Okay, Tre'Quan Smith, you can see his stats here with the New Orleans Saints. He was drafted in 2018 and he was taken in the third round, I believe. And you can see games played. I mean, he played a lot, right? He wasn't just like practice squad guy. He was in there. He was re-signed to another 2-year deal here at the end of his career. Then he went free agent deal to the Broncos. But like I said, Broncos, it was kind of weird because he didn't play much, but the Broncos were a mess. So kind of interesting. But you can see in his first part of his career, I mean, 4 touchdowns. So I mean, he's getting 4 or 5 touchdowns a year. His last stint there in New Orleans, he only had 1. But the reason that this is a little secret weapon is we forget. If you look at the depth chart on ESPN, and again, this is they're just throwing some rough names. I mean, in general, right, with like the depth chart, but Tre'Quan Smith is right here. And we know Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams at wide receiver, but then Donovan Peoples-Jones, Antoine Green, Tre'Quan Smith, Maurice Alexander, like who's going to make the roster, right, at wide receiver? That is a big, big question as we get into training camp here in just a couple of weeks. The wide receiver position. And the Lions are in a unique position where they don't have a lot of question marks and holes, but that's just the one question mark. I mean, think about that. Who's going to really fulfill and be what we need here on the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? That's another question. Kind of what's the secondary ultimately going to look like? That's another question, but not, right? It's just like, let's see what happens. But I mean, you have James Houston, again, like this is why this depth chart's kind of weird. James Houston's sitting way over here in like third linebacker. We know he's a defensive end and going to come in, and especially for the pass rush. We have John Kaminsky, who fell off last year. Oh, someone made a good point in the comments, and I should say, we say John Kaminsky fell off, but they corrected me, and I think this is the right way to say it. I don't know if John Kaminsky fell off or that the other guys, Josh Pascal, Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, the other defensive linemen really just like were much better. And like the level of our play defensively like went up. Kaminsky's didn't. And hopefully that's the case again. Like Marcus Davenport need you. I don't know what to expect from him. But that's the only questions. It's crazy. So Tre'Quan Smith, oh my goodness. If he can be who we hope that he can be, then it's a real kind of game changer, because Tre'Quan Smith, just as a reminder, he went to University of Central Florida. Then he was drafted in the 3rd round, pick 91 by the Saints. He's 6'1", some places I'm 6'2", 210 pounds. He had a pre-draft, like his pre-draft stuff was pretty good. I mean, scouting combine, he had a top 15 40-yard dash of all players that participated. So that's corners, safeties, running backs. So a good 40. And he was ranked the 10th best receiver kind of going into it. So yeah, goes in the 3rd round. So this guy, I mean, he has a 4.4 40. I mean, goes to the Saints again, signed a 4-year, $4 million deal. He had some good years with the Saints. So we just can't forget about him, is basically where I'm going with all this. We cannot forget about him. And he could be that secret weapon that we're like, hey, we're good at wide receiver, because we've talked about Donovan Peoples-Jones, Khalif Raymond. We've got receivers, but man, we need a guy to step up and really be there, because if we can find and take care of these little bit of holes that we have or question marks, Super Bowl caliber team. We know that, right? So now next thing I was going to just mention was kind of in line with that is Pride of Detroit put out most anticipated performances in training camp. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think one for me is our top rated rookies. Of course, Terrion Arnold, need you. So where is he at? And I think it's the new guys / rookies in the secondary. We know that was just such a bad spot for the Lions and really hard to overcome at times. So Amik Robertson, what does he look like? Carlton Davis. What does year 2 of Brian Branch look like? So let me know in the comments if you had to kind of rank them. Of course, then defensive end, just the same things we're talking about. But I think the new secondary is the first thing that I'm looking for as training camp gets closer. And that's what they said here. Which one Lions player are you most excited to watch? It's a bit of a tough question for me to answer after getting a taste of OTAs and minicamp this spring, but there's one important thing that differentiates those practice from the ones ahead: full contact. Well, you can get a general sense of how skilled position players do. It comes down to padded practices. I want to see Jack Campbell and how he's progressed in year 2. I think that's a good one, because I think we all are anticipating him to be really good in year 2, because he was good in year 1, but just a step behind always, just like a step. And you saw him way ahead of even like Derek Barnes ever was in his first couple of years. DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil, although Reader may not be ready for training camp, love to see Levi Onwuzurike. I would as well. I hope he can be the guy that we've always hoped he could be. That'll be really good as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I mean, it's gonna be fun to get training camp going. A lot of fun things come from training camp. We have a general idea, because we're going down from 90 down to 53. So with that being said, you have a general idea of 50. I mean, maybe not that many, but like 45 you could just pencil in right now. But what are the roles? What are guys like John Kaminsky? Are they going to make the team? What's the secondary look like? Who's going to stand out, really make that jump from year 1 to year 2 or year 2 to year 3? Those things are what we're going to really pay attention to. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.